Hello there, this is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Kings got a win last night, 117-113 over the Oklahoma City Thunder to snap their brief two-game losing skid. Buddy Hield had 25 points. It was a team high for the Kings. He was 5 of 10 from three-point range. Marvin Bagley had a double-double off the bench, 15 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 blocks. The Kings are off tonight. They face the Jazz in Utah tomorrow. 54-51 was the final score last night in the Rams-Chiefs Monday night game. It was the highest scoring game in Monday night history. It was the third highest scoring NFL game of all time. It was also the first time both teams in an NFL game scored 50-plus points. So historic numbers all around there. And after the trade market is picking up in Major League Baseball, the Mariners sent starting pitcher James Paxton to the Yankees in exchange for the Yankees' top prospect Justice Sheffield and 2 other prospects. It's 7 o'clock. Time to visit MaidaChevy.com and see who's made a great deal at Maida.
Rise and shine, sleepyhead.
I'm not letting you go to work today.
Wait, what?
Everybody, listen up.
Welcome to The Drive.
Morning, morning, morning.
You're gonna talk.
Get on the phone at 339-1140.
Pretty awesome, huh?
Jump in on our text line at 441140.
Everyone is talking about it. You must know that.
The Drive starts now.
You're not going to want to miss the 7:35 segment, as we are going to not only unpack Sam Amick's article from yesterday, we're also going to give you an opportunity to win a couple pair of tickets. That's for 2 different people to go see the Kings play. I believe that's the Jazz, with our first of a series, getting to know your Sacramento Kings. We'll ask you trivia questions about Kings players, and you get a couple right before you get a couple wrong. You're going to get yourself some tickets. Today, Marvin Bagley is on the hot seat for you. Sam Amick will join us at 8:35 to talk about the article he put out yesterday, which was an A-bomb, an Amick bomb. He touched on a lot of things, and it's great having a national writer like Sam, who is considered in all circles easily a top 5, if not top 3 NBA writer. It's good having him in Sacramento as his home base, because and he says that in his article. It offers a unique perspective for him because he lives in Elk Grove. He's lived here for a very long time. Used to be the beat writer for the Sacramento Bee for your Sacramento Kings. I want to read, Kyle, yesterday's power rankings on ESPN. Number 4, the number 4 ranked team in the National Basketball Association, the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder, the hottest team in the NBA, having won 10 of their past 11 games, despite Russell Westbrook having missed the past 6 contests. Westbrook's injured ankle seems to be healed, but he missed Saturday night's game to join his wife for the birth of their daughters, and congratulations to Russ for that. In his absence, Paul George has led the way with averages of 27.8 points, 10 boards, 5 assists, and over 2.5 steals in his last 5 games. Well, that didn't matter last night, as the Kings were able to beat the Thunder again. They've beaten them twice in this young season, once in Oklahoma and once here. And what I think was the most fun game of the year, the most thrilling game of the year, for a number of reasons. First off, as we just mentioned, the Thunder were 10-5 coming in. One of those 5 losses was to the Kings on their home floor with Russell Westbrook. And you felt like they were going to come in and try to send a message, a little revenge on their mind. This wasn't a fluky win. This wasn't an accidental win when they caught Westbrook and company on the wrong night. Westbrook shot almost 50% from the field. He had 29, 13, and 7. Paul George had 27 and 9. I mean, they played well. Steven Adams had 11 and 15. I'm sure there were things they could have done better, but this wasn't like, they were just having a horrible night from their stars. On top of that, De'Aaron Fox had maybe his worst shooting night as a pro. He was 1 of 10, did not make a three-pointer. He had 6 points. And 2 of those 6 points came at the very end of the game. In fact, I think he had 4 of those 6 in the fourth quarter. When I look at a guy like Willie Cauley-Stein, and listen, I've had issues with Willie Cauley-Stein, and I still do, but let's be fair. 9 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. Yeah, he was bad from the field, but he made up for it with 14 rebounds going up against Steven Adams. That's pretty – you have to shout him out for that. There was a little skirmish, a minor skirmish, between Russell Westbrook and Willie at one point. Steven Adams pretty much – he didn't even really push Willie into the crowd. He just kind of walked him into the crowd, and Willie was trying to get away from him and couldn't because Steven's a big dude.
How many over under 4.5 alligators Steven Adams has killed in his life with his bare hands?
I was thinking about this last night, not the alligators thing, but I was thinking about Steven Adams.
Wow, that's a really specific premise.
Like, if you had a battle royal amongst all NBA players, would Steven Adams win? Like, would Steven Adams in a ring, bare knuckle brawling, would he come out on top? I don't know the answer to that, but this is what I do believe. I believe Steven.
He's one of the favorites.
I think he's one of those guys. And this is, if anyone's ever been in a fight and has experienced this, it's the worst feeling you can possibly feel in a fist fight other than getting punched. I think Steven Adams is the guy that you could just tee off on with a shot to the chin, right on the button. One of those shots where if you throw a punch correctly at someone's face and you land it correctly, I think the closest example I could give is it feels like when you hit a baseball perfectly, you almost don't feel it hit the bat. You know when you've hit somebody perfectly. I think you could land one of those on Steven Adams, and he'd just like look down, wipe the blood, look at his hand, lick the blood off his hand, and just smile and keep coming at you. And that's a real bad feeling. You could hit him with everything you have, and he'd just be like, nice job, mate. And then just keep coming at it. That's the way I like it. Oh, God.
Yeah, he's definitely doesn't feel pain guy.
At all.
I think the peak of that is that picture of Draymond kicking him between the legs, and his face is just stone, just
right.
No reaction.
We used to do that when we were kids for fun. Do it again, Dre. Yeah, no thank you. When he was out doing saber tosses or whatever. Those are New
like
Zealand
he's
jokes.
choked out a lion before, for sure.
Absolutely has choked out a lion. Absolutely has done this.
I hope Vontaze Burfict has to go 5 rounds with Steven Adams.
That would be the only way that would happen is if Steven Adams watched Bewitched reruns for 4 of those 5 rounds. Because Vontaze ain't lasting 5 rounds with Steve Adams. It was a great game last night. Bogdan Bogdanovic off the bench. It's one of those times when you look at plus minus. I still am on the fence when it comes to plus minus for basketball. I really am. Bogdan Bogdanovic on the bench played 25 minutes. He was 6 of 13, made 4 threes. He had 16.5 boards and 3 assists. He was the lowest on the team at -6. I understand there's other things that go into plus minus. But as far as
because he's coming off the bench, he's with bench player Dave.
That's as far as a tool that you use to judge or to even partially judge a player's performance in a game. Part of me just thinks it's you're forcing a square into a round hole.
The way I typically use plus minus is if a guy has a particularly bad performance, like let's say the Kings win by 20. Mm-hmm. And it's like, man, you know what? Let's pick Bogey. It's like, man, Bogey just looked really ineffective tonight. And you look and everybody's a plus 10, plus 12, plus 15, and then Bogey's like a minus 20.
Yeah.
And it's like, oof.
Yeah, that stands out.
Yeah, but that's again, but it's such a team thing typically, unless you have a guy who is just consistently minus double digits.
But what if you're playing? But what if you're on the bench?
Right, then you got to think about moving your rotations around.
Right.
If that's that much of an issue, then there's obviously a problem with who that guy's playing with.
Is it a matter of time before?
But as an individual stat, it's
Vladdy's going to have to make a decision here. Is this team better with Bogdan Bogdanovic in the starting lineup or Buddy Hield in the starting lineup, or do you go small and do you put Bogdan in for Bielitsa?
I think you do that at times. I don't think you start the game like that, though.
Well, last night they had Fox, Shumpert, Heald, Bielitsa, and Cauley Stein. And maybe what you do is you have Heald and Bogey play instead of Shumpert and Heald. And then Shumpert would hit the bench. Now, that wouldn't have worked last night. Iman Shumpert was one of the best players for the team on both sides of the floor. It's interesting to have these problems. I just don't know if Bogdan Bogdanovic should be coming off the bench for the entire season. I feel like he's one of the 5 best players for the Kings.
Yeah, I think so. But at the same time, the Kings are 9-8.
I know. But would they be 10-7 if he was starting?
I mean, maybe.
I'm joking, but it's actually one of those questions. It's a question I was asked yesterday, which
at some point, like some shuffling has to happen.
It does, and at whose cost? Is it at Shumpert's? Is it at Bielitsa's? I almost hope it's not at Heald's. There is a large camp that believes Buddy Hield is better coming off the bench, still playing 30-something minutes a game, but coming off the bench.
I think it'd be worth a shot just because of how well he played off the bench last year, but he's been fine this year.
But the problem is with Buddy Hield, he's averaging 20 points and 5.5 boards.
What you run into is maybe Buddy Hield is super stoked about being in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
And there's a fragile thing there that Joerger knows about.
A psychology.
Yeah. That's good. Psychology that Joerger knows about that we don't, where he knows that if he goes, hey, buddy, we're bringing you off the bench.
Hey, buddy.
No matter what he tells him, like it's to get Bogey in the starting lineup.
Right.
It's nothing against you. You're still going to play this many games or this many minutes. And it psychologically throws him off.
There's still something to that. From the text line, the Jiffy Lube text line, there's no Lions in Australia, Kyle.
Okay. He's also not from Australia, but that's fine.
From the 916, I didn't touch the light. I took the garbage cans down from the sidewalk through the gate. I never went through the garage. Thank you for telling us that. It's a real text on the text line.
Someone's text fighting.
Someone is having a conversation with their significant other, it sounds like, and apparently they live here. And from the 209, why would Vlade have to make a decision on Bogdan Bogdanovic? Is he the coach? CD, you're an idiot. Yeah, Vlade's going to have no input on there at all. None. You got me.
Hey, take a break from holiday shopping this Saturday and join the 1140 Street team at Fire Wings inside the Delta Shores starting at 5 p.m. Enjoy amazing wings while watching Sacramento take on Golden State. Details at KHTK.com.
I hope that guy that just texted in tries one of those hot Cheetos turkeys, and it sucks. We'll take a break. When we come back, 4 down territory, and then we'll get into the Kings at 7:35. It's The Drive, Sports 1140 KHTK. I'm late because we got some breaking news from baseball.
Oh, snap.
Did you see that?
No.
Adrian Beltre has announced his retirement.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yeah, it does. Adrian Beltre retires. Adrian Beltre, I think there are some people that might question this, and they shouldn't. I don't think it's a question of whether or not he's a Hall of Famer, and there will be debate. Is he a first-round Hall of Famer? First ballot.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Adrian Beltre is one of the most under-talked-about guys in modern baseball history. When you look at he's one of those guys, when you look at his numbers, you go, oh, my God, I didn't know that. He was just always there. But when they pile up over a long career, really, really stands out. He announced his retirement. The Rangers put out a statement just a few minutes ago. 4 down territory brought to you by Fire Wings. 21 different flavors to choose from. Firewings.com. Just wing it. First down, Kyle.
Adrian Beltre got to 477 home runs, over 3,000 hits. He's a career 286 hitter and was like one of the best defensive third basemen in baseball. One of the 3 to 5 best defensive third basemen in baseball his entire career.
Forgive me asking, but it's going to get asked.
That doesn't have anything to do with anything. I'm sorry.
I just don't know off the top of my head. He played through a decent part of the steroid area. Was there ever anything with Beltre?
No.
No
Not that
tests.
I'm aware of.
I don't remember any either. I'll have to look, but I don't think so. First down.
All right, we got to go quick. In your mind, are the two teams last night still two of the top three in the league?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right now, to me, they are. The Chiefs did not lose any ground in my mind, and that game could have been just flip the score in Kansas City. They say you give up 3 points when you have a home game. Well, there it was.
The defenses came up with way more plays than I thought they would. 21 defensive points scored is far more than I thought we would have seen. So, yeah, no, these are still two of the top three teams.
Second down.
Second down.
What do you know about either the Chiefs or Rams that you didn't know before last night?
Kyle, I struggle with this question because part of me wants to say, well, that defense can be very opportunistic on both sides. I kind of knew that. Patrick Mahomes can throw interceptions. Well, he was also in a position where he had to take some extra chances. Here's what I know. We've seen the Chiefs twice this year in their two losses to the Patriots and to the Rams. We've seen them play fantastic games. Their two losses are two of the best games we've seen this year. That is a really exciting team. And I know this. I know that I would be very happy with Andy Reid and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I would. Something I know after last night that I didn't know before is that the Rams can survive without Todd Gurley. He was a non-factor last night, and they still racked up 54 points, 40 on offense.
How about that? That's an excellent point. If you had Todd Gurley in your fantasy lineup yesterday.
Oh, you were sitting pretty.
And you knew before the game, said, hey, Rams are going to score 54 points. You're like, I'm so winning. No, he was.
I think he had 94 yards on 15 touches.
Didn't have a bad game, just didn't have anything close to a Gurley game. All right, third down.
Third down.
Name a team outside your top three that is the biggest threat to the top tier.
All right, so we're talking, when we say top three, we're talking about the Saints, the Rams, and the Chiefs. Here's where I get a little nervous, Kyle, because how many times have we seen this play out where we're at this point in the season and some team is going to probably get hot starting now, or they already did and we just haven't noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked you this yesterday, I said I'd ask you it today. If I gave you a choice, if I said I will give you Chiefs, Rams, Saints, or the field to win the Super Bowl, who do you take?
I think I take those three because I really think the Saints are going to go win it. But when you talk about threats, the Patriots are a threat until they're not
exactly.
anymore.
100% agree.
Another team that I'm just throwing out there because I want it out there, so if it happens, I can say I got my hot take out on a radio station. Watch out for the Colts, dude.
Wow.
The Colts are kind of scary.
That is a hot take. Well, Andrew Luck's playing lights out.
He hasn't been touched in 212 dropbacks, which is insane.
Let me run two teams by you real quick that I would have put in there, or I'm thinking about putting in there. The Pittsburgh Steelers have a lot of weapons.
Yeah.
They have a lot of weapons.
The Steelers are a little bit like the Patriots to me in that they're going to be they're yeah.
Okay, and the Colts are your dark horse. I feel like I have to throw this team in as a dark horse because of the defense. Could the Chicago Bears sneak in with that defense? And when we're sitting here in the playoffs in mid-January, go up against the Rams and just shock them?
People are going to want to point to the Jaguars last year and say a team with a great defense and a not great offense can't win. But this Bears offense is much more creative and has way more weapons than that Jaguars offense. And Mitchell Trubisky, I think, is a little bit more competent than Blake Bortles. So, yeah, I absolutely think the Bears are in there in the NFC.
At some point in this season, we got to move to fourth down. At some point this season, we need to revisit that Chicago Bears trade with the 49ers. If we could roll back the clock on that. I'm just kind of curious about that. If we could roll back the clock when they got Trubisky. We could roll back the clock. Are there starting to be some questions there? As far as would you still do the same? Remember, that trade was a steal.
Yeah, I think the Bears don't. Never mind.
We'll get to that later in the week. Well, no.
Fourth down.
Maybe tomorrow.
Fourth down.
Did last night's game live up to the hype?
Duh, stupid question, Kyle. Jeez, I can't even believe you asked that. No, the answer is no. The game went beyond the hype. Very rarely in sports do you see a fight, a boxing match, an MMA brawl, whatever it is, where you have so much hype and then it actually delivers. This over-delivered. Last night's football game is arguably, take away Super Bowl, take away situation, in a vacuum, last night's game is arguably the most entertaining game we've ever seen in the NFL.
We saw two things happen this week that really signaled, I think you can circle this week as the official turning point kind of in NFL philosophy. You saw the Jaguars in their run the ball and play defense philosophy blow a 16-point lead to the Steelers, and then you saw this 54-51 game on Monday night, and it just feels like the run the ball play defense philosophy died while scoring 100 points a game really came to the fore.
We'll take a break. Sam Amick's going to join us in an hour at 8:35 from The Athletic. We'll unpack his article with him. But in the next segment, we'll talk about last night's game. But we're going to spend more time on that article, the fallout from everything, and hopefully try to put this thing to bed. We're also going to give you an opportunity to win not one but two pair of Utah Jazz versus the Sacramento Kings tickets by playing Getting to Know Marvin Bagley. So get on those phone lines here in about 10 minutes. We're back in a couple. Sports 1140 KHTK.
This is Kyle Madson with your top stories on Sports 1140. The Kings are back in the win column. They beat the Thunder 117-113 last night behind 25 points from Buddy Hield. Marvin Bagley had a double-double off the bench with 15 points and 13 boards. He also added on 3 blocks. The Kings are back in action tomorrow night in Utah as they take on the Jazz. Monday Night Football last night was a wild one. The Rams beat the Chiefs 54-51 in the highest scoring game in Monday Night Football history and the third highest scoring NFL game of all time. And the MLB trade market is picking up. The Mariners sent left-handed starting pitcher James Paxton to the Yankees in exchange for the Yankees' top prospect Justice Sheffield and 2 other prospects. It's 7:31. Time to visit MaidaChevy.com and see who's made a great deal of Maida.
It's The Drive on Sports 1140 KHTK.
Sam Amick in an hour. About 5 minutes, we're going to let you call in. Don't try to get in early because Kyle's locked the phones. We're trying to help out the app listeners.
And the stream watchers.
Yeah, speaking of stream watchers, Jiffy Lube and Sac Republic bring you the video stream for The Drive each and every day. Let's go to KHTK.com. You can check it out on the top of the screen. If you're on a tablet or a cell phone, towards the middle of the screen, we'll give you a chance to win tickets to the Kings and Jazz. A couple of you to do that just by getting to know Marvin Bagley. We'll ask some questions. We'll explain the rules here in a second. Before we get into the Kings, Kyle, I think I found the worst take on the internet. The worst take on the internet, and that's saying a lot. The worst take on the internet based on last night's game.
Are you reading my timeline again?
You've never had a take this bad, I assure you. This is simultaneously stupid and highly offensive at the same time. It's from a Facebook guy named Chris Dinero. He says the game was rigged, talking about last night's game. The game was rigged, and I'm a Buccaneers fan. They called 8 to 9 penalties on the Chiefs in the first quarter. I feel this game showed the Chiefs are the real deal in the AFC. Come on, NFL, stop rigging the game. We know y'all wanted this for LA because of the fake wildfires. Last night's game was rigged by the NFL because of the fires here in California. That's according to Chris Dinero on Facebook. Like, literally maybe the worst take in sports history. It's almost impressive. It's like when Baxter ate the wheel of cheese.
Did he say fake wildfires?
He said fake wildfires, and the NFL rigged it because of them. They rigged last night's game because of the fake wildfires. I think there's a lot of people in this area that can attest that those are anything but fake. I mean, that is the worst take I've ever heard in my life, and it sometimes scares me that people like that, and I said you people, walk around in the real world and participate in things. They could be next to you in the grocery store. You don't know.
Right, that person...
They could be driving next to you on a freeway at 80 miles an hour, operating heavy machinery. Man, oh man, oh man.
That
Hell of a game last night.
Imagine watching that game and going, rigged.
Rigged. I mean, throw the fire stuff out. Rigged.
Like there weren't 9 turnovers and ample opportunities for the Chiefs to win. And
I feel like in order to wash my hands of that horrible take, I'll share this with you. You know what a Buccaneer is?
Yeah, it's like a pirate.
You know how how that name came about? I'm going to fumble this story a little bit, but I found this out a couple weeks ago, actually. Buccaneers used to, in that whole Tortuga Caribbean area where you'd have the pirates and stuff back in
that's where Johnny
day.
Depp gets his crew when he goes to try and get the Black Pearl back.
There were a lot of wild pigs and stuff that ran all over the islands, and the people that would boat there, that would dock there, they were hungry, so they would grab these pigs and they would cook them over a fire in a certain way, and I believe it was the French term for the barbecuing, like where you get barbacoa from. It was boucan. Boucan. And those people were referred to as boucaners or boucaners, which turned into buccaneers. A buccaneer is basically somebody who barbecues. That's where it came from. Look it up. I'm not joking.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah. The more you know. The more you know on this program. And you're not going to find that anywhere else, Kyle. Just like you're not going to find any other place to get tickets to the Kings and Jazz.
Phone lines are now open. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140.
All right, so we'll get to call in. You're going to hold for a bit because we're gonna unpack something. Then we'll get to you. We'll have a little fun winning tickets, and you all can play along at home. So just keep dialing. As a matter of fact, I'll personally. And not even Kyle's doing this. I put you all on hold, and we'll get to you here in a second. In order of how you called. We're always fair here. Sam Amick wrote an article for The Athletic. Sam is such a phenomenal writer.
He's okay.
And he'll be on with us in an hour, and you can tell him that.
I'm going to.
He wrote an article for The Athletic, which we highly suggest you subscribe to, because you get phenomenal content like this. The title of the article, "The Kings Want to Be Kings Again, and It's Time to Take Their Fans' Frustration a Little More Seriously." And Sam wrote this from a national perspective, but also the perspective of somebody who lives here in Sacramento, explaining Kangs, K-A-N-G-Z, which is kind of a Twitter thing, an internet thing, or, when the Kings do something stupid, you just write, "Oh, God, Kangs. Here we go again. More Kangs with the Z." And the whole thing that happened over the weekend with the Yahoo article from Chris Haynes.
Chris
Haynes with a Z. Was part of this. Well, Sam goes in on a few things. He talks about how Vlade's deal goes through next season along with Dave Joerger's. He also talks about how Dave Joerger's coaching staff is signed through this year, not next year. So they're on different deals. In fact, Joerger's coaching staff, they're on lame duck deals this year. That's Brian Gates, that's Jason March, and the rest of those guys. They're on lame duck deals, how you say it. But here's where it gets very, very, very juicy from Sam's point of view. I'm quoting now. "According to sources, Dave Joerger has believed since last season that Kings assistant general manager Brandon Williams was on the lookout for a new coach to replace him. Yet Joerger, sources say, is not in danger of being fired anytime soon." D-Bots offered his support Saturday in response to that story. He gives you some background on Brandon Williams, that he's been given all sorts of leeway to make his mark. He then talks about a story, and this is where I love Sam, because Sam, let me just be really honest. I always try to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to be honest right now. There are times when, and I'll only speak for me. I'm not speaking for any other member of the media. There are times when I will infuriate people on this show or on social media, and I will put out kind of a half-cocked take. I will hint at things. I will drop hints that make people like, "Hey, just spill it." Well, here's the bottom line.
It's not how it works.
Yeah. I have access to the team, and I have access, more importantly, in my opinion, to those surrounding the team. I've built relationships with these people over many, many years in some cases. And I get a lot of stuff brought to my table. A lot of when things go badly, when somebody has an issue, when there's problems, whether it's player, coach, executive. I know a lot of people that work with the team, even just, people that take tickets or work at concessions. We all live in the same city. And you'll get calls or texts like, "Dude, you should talk about this," or, "You know what, you should say something," or, "This is what's going on right now." And 95% of it you don't talk about, 5% of it helps you understand a narrative. And I lost my mind on social media twice over the summer. One was when Scott Moak was removed from his VP position and made, quote unquote, just the PA guy. Because I felt like Scott was amazing in the community, did a lot of great stuff, and he did, and he does. He's doing that now with the Sac Republic in amazing ways. And Pete Youngman. And there was some proprietary information I couldn't speak on because that's the deal you make. You get the information. You can't speak on it if the person doesn't want you to speak directly about it as far as a direct source on record. But it can help.
Background.
It's on background. It can help you build a narrative. I could drop hints like I highly doubt Vlade Divac would fire literally his own trainer from his playing days. And I could also drop hints like Vlade Divac was in Serbia at the time that Pete Youngman was, I don't know how they did a press release and it was like he's reassigned to a senior advisor, whatever. That's like, like when Nancy Lieberman was reassigned as whatever she was, and we just didn't hear from her for 2 years, and the next thing you know, she's coaching in the 3-on-3 league.
That's like designated for assignment.
Exactly. Like, well, he's been promoted. Well, okay. And my main concern in those situations, too, and again, I'm trying to be as honest and forthright as I can, is you have two things. You have a responsibility to talk about a story because at least for me, I don't ever try to play it up like I'm a real journalist. I'm a fan with a microphone, and I'm somebody who lives in this town who deeply cares about the fan base and about this city and about the franchise. So you have dual responsibilities. One, you do your best to let people know what's going on. And the other responsibility is you also have real people that could lose jobs and who have kids and families, and you don't want to see their deals screwed up. You don't want to put them in a bad spot either. In other words, well, I could talk about this and blow the lid off of that, but is that going to make it more difficult for that person to maintain their position as it is? Well, Sam goes right there, and good for Sam. He talks about Pete Youngman being pushed out. And that was a bad move. And that's no offense. I don't know the new training staff. I have no idea. They might be amazing people. Seriously. I don't know them, and this is no shade at them. But in my opinion, Pete Youngman and Manny and everybody else should still be there right now. Sam then goes into how Brandon arrived when a year after Vlade was put in charge with the whole Pete D'Alessandro debacle, and that was handled roughly. And here's all I want to wrap up on that. So, I don't know what the Kings are going to do or not do, but here's what I expect is in their heads right now. I think ownership and everyone involved that matters is quite upset about the events over the weekend and the article from Chris Haynes, and most importantly about that, any of that ever getting out. We told you yesterday, disagreements happen all the time in every single front office. So I want to predicate what I'm about to say based on what Sam said. And Sam's coming on in less than an hour, and this isn't shade at Sam. It's just a qualifier. If Sam's sources are correct, and let me requalify that by saying I would bet every penny in my bank account that Sam's sources are correct. And there was a leak in the building. And if you have Brandon Williams, and by the way, let me say this about Brandon. I've had probably 4 or 5 conversations with the guy at length, in person, and on the phone. I've never had a crossword with the guy. I honestly haven't. But that couldn't matter less. If Brandon Williams, and let's use names here and just be upfront. If Brandon Williams wants Dave Joerger out, and if Brandon Williams was the source of that story, then you got to fire him. You got to fire him. And if that headline means that I went on the radio and called for somebody's job, which is not my place, and I would never want to do, and my opinion doesn't matter. But if that's the case, if I'm the Kings, I go to him and I say, did you do this? Maybe it got out of hand. Maybe it wasn't the headline you wanted, but did you do this?
If it came out that I was going back channels to try and get you fired.
You and I couldn't work together anymore.
Correct.
And vice versa. Same
Correct.
thing. If I was going back channels trying to get you fired.
Well, you could
I
literally.
do that all the time. I know. But it's true.
But the point stands.
You can't do that. You can't have that. And I'm going to compliment the Kings. Vlade and ownership and whomever involved. There are a lot of people there that have worked very, very hard to try to stabilize this franchise. They're 9-8. There's a lot of excitement here. This is not what we should be talking about. And if it was up to me, I'd love for today to be the last day we talk about this. Rather be talking about the Thunder and Kings victory. But I want to put this whole thing to bed. And I think it would be a very good signal from ownership to come out and say, listen, we have a lot of respect for X, Y, and Z person, but it has become apparent that there are irreparable relationships. We stand firmly behind our head coach, Dave Joerger, firmly behind him. And as far as his future goes, we will talk about that at an appropriate time. I don't need the Kings to extend Dave Joerger tomorrow, although it would be nice to have his assistant coaches sign through next year with Joerger. I personally hope they do, but that's not what I need. Here is the ultimate question that everybody's tiptoeing around. You can have all the statements you want. You can have all the we support coaches, all you want. You can put that out there. But here's the bottom line. If there is somebody in the front office that is actively trying to remove Dave Joerger from his position, then it comes down to one of two things. Either you support your coach and that person is gone, or you do not support your coach, and at least let that be known. If there isn't a move made on that person, then that tells me that this isn't put to bed. Because you cannot have a productive working environment when you have to work closely with somebody who is allegedly wanting you to be removed. Dave Joerger's a big boy. He's been fired before. He'll be fired again. This isn't about protecting Dave Joerger and the $4 million he makes a year. He'll be just fine. But you can't support the coach and also support an executive that wants him gone. And if Brandon's fired, Brandon will be just fine too. By all accounts, he's very talented, has a ton of connections. He'll be okay. And why would he even want to stay here? Honestly, the right thing to do would be a resignation, to be honest with you. That would be the right thing to do. Again, let me predicate if that happened. And all signs point to that happening. So let's stop tiptoeing around. Let's stop with all the qualifiers, which I'm doing. Let's just say it. If that happened, you got to make a decision. Make the decision so we can move on. It is mid-November. Holidays are coming up. You support your coach, then support your coach.
And you have a team that's 9-8. You don't want to derail this because you don't want to add to the dysfunction by trying to not look dysfunctional. And I hate to use that word because of the connotation that comes with it. But going, no, everything's fine when it's not is not the move here.
I understand and I empathize with some of the Kings executives. I really do. Who are hoping that, who are like, God, I can't believe this happened. This really sucks. We didn't want this for Coach. We do truly support him, but we also find value with X, Y, and Z person. Hopefully this, let's win some games and this will go away. Well, it's not going to.
Dude.
That's not how this town works.
Dude, give me $10 an hour in a trade machine. I got him. I'm in there.
All right, so that's all I have to say about that, and I'll ask Sam that when he comes on at 8:35. I'm curious as to his opinion and how they move on. Let's go. I
just got Kelly Oubre for a salary dump yesterday, dude.
Well done.
I'm telling you.
Does that mean you leave the show though?
No, I can do both.
Okay.
I don't have to be over there until.
Hey, is this Matt? Matt, who is this? Who am I talking to on the phones? Caller.
Hello?
Yeah, who's this?
This is Nick.
Nick. Okay, I'm sorry, Nick. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
I'm doing good. Would you like to play a quick game here?
No, Superman does good. You're doing well.
We got.
Go ahead.
I said we got this. Let's do this.
All right. So the name of this game is Get to Know Your Sacramento King. Yeah. Today's contestant, or should I say today's subject, is Marvin Bagley. Now, Nick, this is very simple. This is a best of 3. We have asked Marvin Bagley and other Kings a list of questions, and we're going to give you a multiple choice. If you get 2 right before you get 2 wrong, you're going to get tickets to go see the Kings and the Jazz. Does that make sense to you?
That makes perfect sense.
You have any questions at all, or you want to go ahead and get started?
Let's get going.
All right, question number 1. Marvin Bagley's favorite musician. Is it Biggie, the Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, or Kendrick Lamar?
Ooh, I would say Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar. Let's see what Marvin Bagley said.
I can have 2.
You can have 2.
I can have 2.
Of course you can.
Tupac and J. Cole.
Okay.
Favorite Disney.
Tupac and J. Cole. I'm sorry. You could have. We would have accepted either one. Tupac and J. Cole. Marvin Bagley not playing by the rules.
J. Cole definitely wasn't one of the choices.
Was not one. Was definitely not one of the choices. You could have done either one, but that's okay. That's okay. You've got a chance to come back here. Okay.
All right.
Question number 2. You heard the first part of it. What is Marvin Bagley's favorite Disney movie? Is it, I got to give you the multiple choice, I'm sorry. Is it Lion King, Aladdin, or Lilo and Stitch?
I would say Lion King.
Lion King. Let's see what Marvin Bagley said.
Favorite Disney movie. Oh, wow.
I told you. I wasn't lying. It gets worse.
Favorite Disney movie.
Yes. Favorite Disney movie. We want to come back to it?
Yeah, probably not. Dang. Yeah, Lilo and Stitch. I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say that.
Okay.
Lilo and Stitch.
It's actually the correct answer.
What did Bag say?
Lilo and Stitch. I'm very, very sorry. That was an 0 for 2. Lilo and Stitch, those were a couple of tough ones. I would have probably guessed Aladdin or Lion King. Lilo and Stitch, Marvin Bagley's favorite Disney movie. But now you have an idea of how the game works. Let's see. It's The Drive. Who's this? Caller.
This is Mason.
Mason. That's my son's name. Where are you calling from, Mason?
I'm in Roseville.
Are you Dave's son?
Yeah, are you my son? Yeah.
No, last time I checked.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Much deeper voice. All right, let's move on. Getting to know
I
Marvin.
don't have red hair either, so that's not my dad either.
That's a guy who listens. Had a baby. All right, Mason, did you listen enough to know what the rules were?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so it's multiple choice. Getting to know Marvin Bagley, and we'll see if we can do a giveaway before we go. Marvin Bagley's favorite cartoon, is it SpongeBob, Dragon Ball Z, or Pokemon?
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. Let's see how Mason did. What cartoon did you watch most growing up?
I watch SpongeBob a lot.
That's popular.
Yeah, I watch SpongeBob a lot. That was mine. That was my favorite.
All right, SpongeBob.
That's one.
That's our first correct answer. All you got to do is get one of the next 2, and I have a feeling we're going to give away our first pair of tickets here before we go to break. You just got to get one of the next 2, and you win Kings Jazz tickets. All right, Mason, not my son.
Or grandson.
If Marvin Bagley was not in sports, if sports was not, basketball player was not his job, would he be A, a history teacher, B, a barber, C, a musician?
C, a musician.
C, a
Final
musician.
answer, lock that in.
Final answer locked in. Wow, Mason is really confident on that one. Let's see if that confidence pays off. If you weren't a basketball player, if you weren't in sports, what would you want to be doing?
If I wasn't in sports, I'd probably be doing something with music.
Okay. Fantastic job.
What if he was just like, I'd be a history teacher?
Congratulations. You've got yourself, where's my stuff here? Oh, it quit. That's what I was going to play. Congratulations.
Yeah!
You've got yourself, there we go, a pair of tickets to what, Kyle?
To see the Sacramento Kings take on Utah at the Golden One Center on November 25th. Get more info at khtk.com. All KHTK giveaways are powered by RooseveltAutomall.com.
Mason, I'm very glad you're not my son, and I'm also glad
Dang,
that
shade at Mason.
Just saying, if he was my kid,
I felt that.
those little kid years would be all gone. You sound all grown up, Mason. Congratulations, you're going to go see the Kings and the Jazz. We appreciate you listening. Hold the line, and Kyle Madsen's going to take care of you. Make sure you get your tickets all good.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right. We will take a break. Hey, everybody else on the phone, well, hold the line because we've got more of the game. That's right. We will carry this over partially into the next segment. I hope you're enjoying get to know your Sacramento Kings. I'll try to find the place we were at when we get back. That's going to sound amazing on the air. We still have some questions left for Marvin. For example, worst purchase he's made. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Who's his favorite actor, et cetera, et cetera. We'll get to all that when we get back right here on The Drive. Sports 1140 KHTK.